time to grow with the SEO Queen. Receive the perfect leads like never before. No traffic is gonna explode. It's time to grow.
The SEO Queen Tech Show, a podcast to help you get more credibility, visibility, and profitability through inspiration, technology, and marketing insight. This podcast is for professionals and entrepreneurs who are looking to get more customers, clients, patients, and revenue. We are on Bashani Radio, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Bashani Radio, always talking about everything from New York City. You can listen to the SEO Queen Tech Show on any mobile phone or tablet device. Also, as a thank you gift for listening to the SEO Queen Tech Show, please go to seoqueen.com and download the free ebook 101 Ways to Improve Your Marketing and Sales. Today's guest is a dynamic CEO. She is the founder and CEO of Holistic Hyperbaric, and she's going to share with us so many amazing things about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If you have not heard of hyperbaric oxygen therapy, you definitely do not want to miss this episode. It is going to be very informative. Thank you so much for listening, and here she is. You can connect with Alex Williams, the CEO of Holistic Hyperbaric, by going to her website at hh-bayarea.com. That's hh-bayarea.com. And you can also follow them online on Instagram at holistic_hyperbarics. That's Instagram at holistic_hyperbarics.
So I am the founder and CEO of Holistic Hyperbaric. It's a hyperbaric oxygen therapy clinic based in Oakland, California. I am the only Black owner of a hyperbaric clinic in the United States. And we are ahead of the curve in a lot of ways, not just in diversity, but primarily in the fact that we are taking a medical treatment that has historically been only in hospitals and putting it outside of the hospital. Hyperbaric is one word, oxygen therapy. Yeah. And we have taken this therapy and we have brought it into a mainstream way. And our quest is to turn something that looks really scary into something that's very approachable. So if you look on our Instagram, we have very, very flashy pictures of brown-skinned people enjoying their time inside the chambers. And we're really trying to pivot ourselves into a mainstream way to make this the next thing. And there's a lot of amazing peer-reviewed studies behind what we do. And so we're in this precipice of...
So breathing oxygen really does like reverse the aging process?
Oxygen under pressure.
Yeah.
That's the key there, is oxygen under pressure. Justin Bieber, he actually has Lyme disease.
He what?
He has Lyme disease.
Oh,
and that put him into depression and drug use, and he started using a hyperbaric chamber. Now he's better.
Oh my God.
That's actually a fake picture.
Shut up.
Yeah. You should come try it.
I want to try it because I remember Michael Jackson, he was rumored to sleep in one of those once upon a time.
Yeah, not rumored. He had one, then he actually donated it to Cedars-Sinai, and it's actually still there at Cedars-Sinai, his chamber.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm like a big Michael Jackson fan. Like,
I'm huge. I had concert tickets and then he died.
Oh man, I never even had concert tickets, but I mean,
well, his This Is It tour, right? I emptied my savings. I was like, this is it. I'm just gonna have to. This is the only chance I got to see him live because I'm a millennial, so I didn't get to see Thriller. And so I had tickets. I was gonna sleep on someone's couch in London, and then he died.
And what treatments can you legally say what diseases you treat people for, or how does the the FDA or the AMA regulate your business?
Yeah, so the FDA requires that, like, we can talk about the 14 conditions that are covered by insurance. We can talk about those really clearly as things that we treat, but we actually normally don't treat those because those people go to providers that have insurance.
Okay.
So we do our best to talk about things that we don't say that we treat directly, like we don't treat Lyme disease directly, right? There are over 12 peer-reviewed studies that say that hyperbarics has really great benefits for, so that's how we say it, has really great benefits for the following conditions. So if you look on our page, we have a lot about fertility and surgical recovery and wounds, things that are really obvious but don't have that same FDA clearance. So we say that there's benefits for.
So explain to me, how exactly does this work?
Sure. So when you get into a hyperbaric chamber, we are increasing the amount of oxygen density in a controlled space. Okay. We achieve that by putting you in a chamber or a small submarine-like sphere. And what we do is we increase the amount of oxygen, or increase the amount of air molecules in the space. So it feels a lot like taking off on an airplane, that same need to clear your ears. And all that is a pressure adjustment. That's what you're doing on the airplane. Airplanes are hyperbaric chambers. And so think of it like you're inside of a balloon and someone is blowing into that balloon and you are inside of that balloon. There's not a lot of space for that oxygen to go. And so it puts a certain amount of pressure on your lung tissue. Mm-hmm. The more pressure we exert on your lung tissue, the more it can absorb oxygen. And so in a hyperbaric chamber, I could get you to breathe in 1,200 times more oxygen than you can breathe on your own. And so oxygen is just a catalyst. Mm-hmm. We use oxygen to make energy. And so the more we can breathe in, the more energy we have, and the easier it is for you to do the things your body wants to do. It can heal itself. So it helps with your wounds from surgery heal about 33% faster. And it brings down inflammation.
It brings down inflammation.
Yeah. And it also builds more blood vessels. So if you have people that have brain injuries from concussion or a stroke, it's really important to get them into a hyperbaric chamber right away, because we can oxygenate tissue that hasn't had oxygen since the stroke event. And in time, after 10 sessions, we see that we can actually build new blood vessels in areas where the stroke has destroyed.
Stop. You can do what?
Yeah, so angiogenesis.
You can regrow blood vessels?
Yeah, so angiogenesis happens after the body has to figure out how it's going to utilize all of this new oxygen in your system. So when you're looking at things like fertility, as we are getting older and we're trying to have children later in life, having a thick, vasculature-rich uterus is going to be important for implantation. Mm-hmm. In a lot of the same ways that we need to have a thick vascular bed in our brains to help us with oxygen administration. And so if you come in, the cumulative effect is not just that you're going to see a reduction of inflammation and better energy. You're also, in the long term, going to see a thicker vasculature bed because of the microvascularization that's happening on the tissue level. So yeah, that's kind of the big deal about hyperbarics, is that you grow better tissue, more vascular rich tissue. So name the issue, and you're going to see a much better result from it. Sudden hearing loss, for instance.
Right.
Sudden hearing loss happens. It's idiopathic. We don't know why it happens. Sometimes it's just triggered by stress mainly. But if you can get to a hyperbaric center within 14 days of you losing your hearing, we can actually not only preserve the nerve, but we can build more vasculature in the area to help fortify the nerve's oxygen resource. And so that plus steroids can bring your hearing from 0 to 100% back. And I've done it several times.
You've brought people's hearing back?
Yeah.
Wow.
People come in with 0 hearing and they woke up that way.
So you're telling me, let me get this straight. So you can actually say a musician who has been playing loud stadiums and loud bars or whatever over their career, they can come and get a hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment regimen from you and restore some of their hearing.
Yeah.
Child, I'm going to be there to get my treatment as soon as I can, COVID or no COVID.
Yeah, I mean, we're open through COVID. We do all the things, but especially if you have sudden hearing loss, it's like a Lazarus event, right? Where we have someone coming back from the dead. You have your hearing coming back from the dead. And it's all about the fact that I can put 1,200 times more resource back into your body by giving you more oxygen. And all you have to do is just lay there. You can bring your phone in and watch TV. You can bring an iPad in or a laptop and work, or you can just nap.
Shut up. I'm gonna have to take a road trip.
I mean, you have places, I saw you Google right where you are, and there are a few facilities not far from you. There's some that I would tell you to avoid, but I do have good partners where you're at.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Man. So yeah, I mean, this is just incredible. I had no idea that hyperbaric oxygen therapy was so powerful.
Yeah, it's out of this world. It's great.
And it's like one of the best kept secrets, but it's not a kept secret anymore.
There are so many good stories to tell about what Hyperbarics does.
So tell me some good stories. I'm all ears.
I mean, throw a dart in a condition and I can tell you a good story. One of my very first stories was a gentleman who came in. He was a 43-year-old Latino man, 6'2", and weighed about 380 pounds.
Wait. Does this help lose weight too?
Well, it gives you cellular energy, right? And part of that is that it helps you with your metabolism. And if you're in a regimen for dieting, it definitely helps you fight those cravings. But more importantly for him, he was pre-diabetic, and he went to the beach with his wife. And when he went to the beach with his wife, he stepped on a rock and opened up a wound on his foot. Well, because of his early stages of neuropathy, the wound did not heal. In fact, it just got worse. And so they went to Kaiser, and Kaiser told him, well, will you pay your copay and you will get an amputation just below the knee for a wound on his foot. That was their answer. Now, the problem that I have chronically with
God. So you're
modern healthcare.
So you're telling me they were like, chop off the foot because he stepped on a rock?
Well, and the wound was getting worse because of his diabetes, right? And so in some of these HMOs, there's less of a concern to think about the whole person, right? You need to think about the totality of somebody's life. This man works on his feet. He is a blue collar worker. It was important for him to make sure that he had every way to make money, because this is how he makes money, is on his feet. Right. And the healthcare provider was not looking at the totality of who he was, right? And so when they came to me, it was because she was Googling for wound care, and Hyperbarics came up, and then I came up, and they came to me, and yes, he had a really bad diabetic wound. I've got the pictures. And to me, I was like, we just need to invest the time. And after 40 seconds, not only did we reduce the wound to nothing, but he no longer qualified for an amputation. During that time with us, I also encouraged him to change his diet, which he did. And I encouraged him to do general exercise from the chair. And he lost 45 pounds. And he's now eating a better diet. And the whole trajectory of his life changed just because they came and found a different answer than what their physician was saying. The physician was like, cut it off.
That is freaking incredible.
So, throw a dart in a condition, and I'll tell you a story. I've helped 18 women get pregnant that went through failed IVF. And women in their 40s. Because all we need to be healthy as humans is more resource. As we get older, your son, right? Your son is an amazing, well-run municipality of a body, right? I always tell people children are like, they're like Ashland, Oregon, right? They're just really well resourced. There's lots of, people spending their money and paying their taxes. And, you can do all the things you need to do with a body that has all the resources that it needs. But as we get older, we turn into a municipality that's kind of under-resourced and corrupt and taking resources from different parts just to keep everything going. And you wake up and you've got all these open projects, right? And you have all these city workers in your body saying, yo, I've got inflammation here. I got maybe a ligament tear here. And you don't have the resources to fix all of those problems. There's just not enough. All hyperbaric oxygen therapy is giving you the resource to do what your body already naturally wants to do. And so incredible. The FDA only covers 14 conditions for insurance because that's a political thing. But in Europe, they cover over 60.
Wow.
And so for us, we consider our work boundless. If you want to come in and work on yourself, if it makes sense metabolically, and we've done a little bit of the research, it definitely can help you.
Absolutely. This is incredible. I mean, everything you're telling me is just like, wow. I mean, it was kind of like a joke in the media when, first time I ever heard about hyperbaric oxygen treatment was with respect to, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like this joke, but it's not a joke.
Well, predominantly it was used historically for people that had diving accidents. They were actually invented when people were building the bridges in New York because workers were dying by the 10s and 20s every day, and they weren't understanding what was happening when they were coming up from the water. They were coming up from the water too quickly. So they designed these chambers to slowly bleed the nitrogen out of the body. But we slowly realized that when we were using them for Navy divers, that the wounds they would have from the games they would play or the training they would heal very quickly. So it started becoming huge for wound care. And that was like basically in the 70s, right? In the 80s. And then Michael had that commercial, got that 3rd-degree burn, and it was the best thing. So he ended up getting a chamber because it was the best thing for wounds out there at the time.
Wow.
We now know that it is not only good for wounds, it's a resource water fountain. So you can use it for anything.
You can connect with Alex Williams, the CEO of Holistic Hyperbarics, by going to her website at hh-bayarea.com. That's hh-bayarea.com. And you can also follow them online on Instagram at holistic_hyperbarics. That's Instagram at holistic_hyperbarics.